What's up everyone, it's your boy Trippy and we're back with another Naruto video. Today I'm going to be talking about this topic that I've seen floating around the Naruto community. It's what if Kakashi went on the retrieval mission by himself to rescue Sasuke? So the main focus of this question is, could Kakashi defeat the Sound Ninja and eventually Sasuke himself and bring him back to the village? I think this is a really fun topic and I just wanted to go over it and what I personally think would happen if this was how the series played out instead of sending out the squad that they actually ended up sending. So before we get into this, we need to lay out some rules. This won't be a could Kakashi defeat all of them at once, because if that was the case, I think just Kimimaru alone would be a tough match for Kakashi at this specific time, let alone all of them at once. So it's more of a like Mortal Kombat arcade ladder style fight, where he will go at them one-on-one, but we will be taking into account his chakra, because obviously he's going to get tired as he continues. So with all of that said, let's get into the video. So as for the standard Sound 4 members such as Durobo, Kiromaru, Seikon, and Taiyu, I mean, we saw Kid Sasuke kind of keeping up with all of them at once. Granted, this was without their curse marks, which are stated to buff them around 10 times in their second state, as stated by Durobo. With all that said, yes, Sasuke lost that little scuffle with all 4 of them, but I think Kakashi is far stronger than Sasuke at this state, and I think Sasuke could easily take them one-on-one, and I don't think it's a huge leap to assume Kakashi is like 10 times stronger than Sasuke at this point in time. Even if he doesn't have as much chakra reserves, his experience and intelligence heavily outweighs just about everyone in the series up to that point, and it's fair to say that he's fought stronger people than any of them individually, such as Zabuza for example, who I can confidently say could probably take out all of the Sound 4 on his own, except for maybe Taiyu, as she has some genjutsu hacks that could probably work on him. But as for Kakashi, who is smarter than Shikamaru at the time, and Shikamaru probably being smarter than Zabuza, I don't think he should have much trouble. Now with all this power scaling stuff out of the way, let's get into the 1v1s. So up first is Kakashi versus Durobo. We saw Choji fight Durobo with his 100 times multiplier pill that he took, and this is just about all that we have to scale Durobo. Granted, Durobo got stomped by Butterfly Mode Choji, but either way, we need to look at Choji's base mode to see what 100 times that base mode would be to properly see how strong Kakashi should be compared to Durobo. The only problem is that base Choji has almost no feats. I mean, he fought Dosu, who is literally cannon fodder, and still somehow lost. The only way to go about this fight is to pretty much say that I think Durobo is physically stronger than Kakashi, but Kakashi's speed gap is huge. I mean, he was lightning speed as a child. I think Kid Kakashi could probably take Durobo like low to mid diff, so adult Kakashi in part 1 should have no trouble. Durobo's pretty much just a walk in the park for Kakashi. Next up is Kakashi versus Kiromaru. This is a bit more interesting because Neji is much stronger than Choji, not physically, obviously, but the Byakugan is much more hacks, and Kakashi is basically the king of hacks at this point in the series. So any tricks like trying to stay out of the sight of Kakashi and attack stealthily are kinda out of question because Kakashi's Sharingan can track chakra, so hiding is kinda, out the window. And while you would think it should have been easier for Neji since he can also see him the whole time, you have to also understand that Neji is a very defensive fighter for the most part, and Kakashi is an extremely offensive fighter and wouldn't waste much time with Kiromaru. So as soon as Kakashi gets an idea of where Kiromaru is pretty much as good as dead. Once Kakashi gets his hands on him, he easily kills him, plus Kakashi has a much more vast variety of jutsu than Neji, so even though Kakashi can't shut down chakra points like Neji did to beat him, he'll still find a way to get rid of him. It's also pretty obvious that Kakashi is much more skilled in taijutsu, so it's possible that he just finishes this fight without even exerting that much chakra. Next up is Kakashi versus Seikon, and I mean, Seikon lost to Kiba. Do I really need to say much more? I'm joking, kinda. We'll still go over the fight though, but in all honesty, this is another walk in the park for Kakashi. Seikon's main ability is fusing with your cells and becoming a part of you, but we see Kiba escape with a smoke bomb effortlessly, and he's not even that smart compared to almost anyone in the series, so I'm sure Kakashi just throws a smoke bomb down, jumps in, and beats their ass. As stated before, Kakashi is great at taijutsu, so this shouldn't be that hard, and he just moves on. Then we have Kakashi versus Taiyu, which is probably the most interesting out of all the main Sound 4 members. In my opinion, she's the strongest out of the Sound 4, or at least has the most hacks with her sound-based genjutsu. But this genjutsu can be broken, as seen when Shikamaru did it by breaking his finger with his shadow. So I'd imagine that Kakashi would easily break the genjutsu, at least genjutsu of that level, or even just use his ocular genjutsu on her first, but I don't think he even needs to bring out the Sharingan and waste chakra in this fight. As we saw, it's not hard to dodge sound-based abilities in Naruto, even if you're like slightly above average speed. Sasuke with the first stage curse mark was doing it in the Forest of Death during the Chunin exams, and there's nothing really indicating that her genjutsu is any faster than any of the other Sound Ninja's attacks. And as stated before, Kakashi is a lightning timer by the age of 12, so best case scenario he dodges the genjutsu, worst case scenario he gets trapped and breaks the genjutsu pretty easily and ends the fight with like a fireball jutsu or water dragon because Taiyu is not that durable. The next fight, in my opinion, is the best out of all of them up to this point. It's Kakashi versus Kimimaru. A lot of people seem to forget about Kimimaru, but he's really strong. Like, he's consistently compared to beginning of Shippuden Sasuke, who is definitely no slouch. Up to this point, Kakashi wouldn't have wasted too much chakra, at least not enough to make this fight extremely one-sided, but I do think it's gonna be the first time Kakashi has to use his Sharingan. Now, base Kimimaru was kinda getting beat by Drunk Lee, who is comparable to base guy, and base guy, at least taijutsu-wise, is heavily implied to be completely even with base Kakashi. So I don't think base Kakashi has an issue with base Kimimaru, but it's Kimimaru's like bone form that I think he's gonna need his Sharingan for. Fully amped Kimimaru is a difficult opponent for just about anyone in the series up to this point. I think Kakashi with his Sharingan has no issue dodging Kimimaru's spine whip thing or any projectile bones, as he could just see them coming with his Sharingan and just, you know, mud wall or something, at least in the projectile bones case. I also think he can easily dodge the huge bone drill, and it's not even really seen to be used in straight up taijutsu anyways, only when he has someone stuck in one spot, which, as I said, Kakashi shouldn't have trouble dodging the spine thing, which Kimimaru uses to hold his opponents in one spot. But the huge AoE attack that he has that just makes giant bones come up from the ground, that may be an issue for Kakashi to dodge. Now, it's never really said that these bones contain chakra in them, so I don't know for sure that Kakashi would see them coming. I can only assume that they do, as they're a part of Kimimaru's body and he can like travel throughout them. I mean, they probably contain chakra, right? Kakashi might be able to see them coming and find a way to avoid them. Like we said, the Raikiri is about lightning speed, so it's not far-fetched to say that Kakashi can get clear of that area with a Raikiri as long as he can see the huge attack coming. And in canon, if Kimimaru uses this ability, he pretty much just dies as he's very sick at this point in time, and using that much chakra at once just kills him pretty much immediately. So if Kakashi evades this, he wins the fight. I'll leave this one more up to you guys, but in my opinion, I think Kakashi wins this, but just barely. Now at this point, Kakashi would have used his Sharingan for an extended period of time and used his Raikiri once. As stated by him, he can only use it 4 times in one day at this point in time. So with the prolonged use of the Sharingan and the Raikiri, he would be at like half chakra, give or take, and he still has to go on to fight Sasuke. Now even stage 2 curse mark Sasuke would probably lose to full chakra Kakashi with his Sharingan active, but it's more interesting when he's half or even less than half chakra. With this one, it's not known for sure if Sasuke would even unlock his 3rd Tomo, but we're just gonna assume he does throughout this fight because otherwise Kakashi could pull up and probably incapacitate him pretty quickly. It's just more interesting if he has his 3 Tomos and his curse mark stage 2. I think Sasuke by this point is stronger than Kimimaru, or at least has more like of a diverse amount of lethal jutsu, and is arguably smarter. Sasuke with CM2 probably wins this fight, at least if there's like a Chidori clash. I think it's pretty obviously shown that a CM2 buff Chidori was stronger than a base Chidori, and using another Chidori just to be overpowered and launched back or something would be a waste of Kakashi's chakra. It would just end up draining him faster, and Kakashi doesn't really have like a way to defeat CM2 Sasuke at this point, at least not at half of his chakra. There's a chance that he still finds a way because he's much smarter than Sasuke and has more combat experience, but Sasuke, even before all the buffs, was pretty good at taijutsu. Even at the beginning of the series, he put up a pretty good fight against base Kakashi. So with all these buffs Sasuke has and the chakra nerfs that Kakashi would have after all the other fights, I think he probably loses here, and Sasuke wins high diff. But if you take away CM2 and the 3 Tomo Sharingan, I think Kakashi wins like mid to high diff. It's all about how this fight's progression happens compared to the original, and whether or not you think Sasuke even gets his 3rd Tomo or not. There's too many factors in this fight specifically to be 100% sure of a winner, and it's all about how you interpret it. If you think Sasuke has the 3rd Tomo and CM2, he wins high diff. If you think that he doesn't have all those buffs, Kakashi wins like mid diff. Well, this was kind of a long one in terms of my channel, but I hope you enjoyed. This one took me a long time to make and research and edit and whatnot, and it wasn't as clear cut as I think a lot of you thought it would be, or or even as I thought it would be. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you like the longer style of video with much more like in-depth research, and if you have any more hypotheticals similar to this, also let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like, and if you didn't, just let me know by leaving a negative comment or something. If you like content similar to this, go check out some of my other videos on this channel. I'll leave a playlist at the end here, and you can just go check them out. And if you do enjoy them, make sure to subscribe. It really helps out the channel, makes me feel like I'm doing this for a reason, you know? Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Trippy out. I love y'all. Peace.